All right. Hello. I'm sure people will filter in as I do this. I'm not the absolutely most familiar when it comes to doing YouTube streams, so I'm sure that we will have some stumbles along the way. But here we are. We're doing Release the Beast, and we have the November event. So I'll just give like a quick overview of the event. I'm sure many of you have seen my YouTube videos where I'm running through these lists before. This is not something that's new, but the format's quite different. So before we used to have it where we'd play like one round per week, or one round per 2 weeks, or one round per 10 days. We experimented with all sorts of different lengths. But what I decided to do this time is have a tournament where the matchups are all done at the start. Because it's a team event, you'll do the pairings like you would at a normal team event at the start in the first week, and then you have the rest of the month to play the games. Now, for various reasons, this event got delayed, so it didn't happen at the start of the month, but it's going to start now, and we've released the matchups and done the lists already on the Discord. Now, I will just pause for a second as I need to find out a way to see the chat. Just give me one more. Because I, of course, want to say hello to all the people who are coming in. I don't know how many people are going to watch this, but that's okay with me. I will enjoy reading through this. Of course, part of the thing I'm trying to do here is just trying to make sure that the list that I've got in have got as few errors as possible, as this has been something that's been kind of a problem. Of course, doing a lot of the stuff on my own, it's easy for me to miss stuff. So I'll try to just find anything and highlight it as I go and deal with it later. Okay. Where can I find the chat? I have to go to live. There we are. There's Stuart. And okay, cool. All right. So, yeah. So let's just give a quick overview. So we have 18 teams of 8 players, which is insane. We had it last month as well, but I just want to reiterate how grateful I am that everyone is playing in this. Release the Beast has kind of been my baby over the past few years. Like, I've never really had a desire to monetize it, really. I could light charge people for it, but I just think that not everything you do in life you need to get money for. So this is one of the things I'm just doing purely out of passion, because I like seeing people play these events. I like playing in these events myself. So that's why I'm doing it, and it's fun to run. So of course, you know, not everything about running a tournament is fun, but you have to kind of accept that and enjoy the positive aspects of it. So we have 18 teams of 8 players. So it's 144 players plus subs, and of course the normal restrictions to list building happens. So, you know, no duplicate artifacts, no duplicate armies, etc., etc. If you're interested in more about the pack and that, I'll remember to put a link to the Discord. Maybe someone can do that in the chat if they see this. But yeah, basically 8 different armies, and you can't repeat. The big one is you can't repeat like command traits and artifacts, that normal stuff, and endless spells and war scrolls between armies. But you also can't repeat. The big thing is you can't repeat like Hoarfrost more than once. So you can take one Shaman of the Chilled Land, so that's the command trait, which lets you know all the spells from the new fancy lore, and then you can take basically one army that has Hoarfrost, one army that takes Blizzard, and then one army that takes Rupture. Okay, that's how it works in this event. So we have participants from all around the world. I think over the years it's fluctuated a bit between, you know, do we get Americans playing, do we get Eastern Europeans playing, but now we've got quite a good representation of most of the Warhammer playing world. Of course, you know, there's some countries like China who play Warhammer that aren't necessarily represented here, but we have spatterings of Asia. Of course, I live in Japan, and we have some players from the Philippines, and we have some players from Australia as well. So it's still very much like a global event. There's probably just a few countries that we haven't got for various language or time zone reasons. Yeah, so let's get into it. The amount of detail I'm going to go into on every list may wither as we go on. So I apologize for that, but it does depend on how my voice holds out. I hope you're all doing well. I am enjoying the weather here. I quite like cold weather, so Japan's got a bit colder lately, and I very much enjoy that. So we're going to start with one of the 3 German teams we have. So we have Potato Forge. Now, I thought that we had a potato team, a sausage team, and a cake team, but apparently we have 2 potato teams. I don't speak German, so I had to look up what a Kartoffeln is, but apparently it's a potato. So we have 2 potato teams. So I don't know what's going on there, but we need to fix that, all right? We need some diversity in our food name distribution, all right? So we should have potatoes. We should have some German cakes or something in there, right? Or maybe like a pretzel, you know? Maybe we have like Team Pretzel, that can be the other one, and then we can have some sausages, all right? But okay, let's start with Potato Forge. So this team did quite well. I think it came 6th in the previous event. Oh, I didn't mention yet. So the reason we have 2 month-long events is because basically the 8 teams that got a high score in one of those 2 events were basically going to seed into an Ultimate Super Finals Challenge, which is going to be a single elimination finals. So 8 teams. So basically it'll work. The first team plays the 8th seed in the first round. Second team played the 7th seed, and so on, so on, so on. And we will just punch each other out until a victor is crowned. That's the way that's going to work. So that will be the thing we're working towards, and that will be in January. So this tournament will run through to the middle of December, and then in January we will crown the Release the Beast 8 Ultimate Slam champion. So that's what's on the line here. So let's get into Potato Forge. So we have first of all we have Captain AZ, the champion, a legend of TTS, who's playing ogres. He always plays ogres, and so the big change in the ogre list is now you can't run 6 Stonehorns. You have to run some Thunder Tusks, which I think is probably fine anyway. But other than that, it hasn't really changed much. So there's not much for me to say. But it's still good, but it has all the same problems it used to have, and I think probably it's a bit less durable than it was as well, because particularly this Thunder Tusk beast right here, the Battle Line one, has some problems of just dying in a freak accident. That's okay. So that's ogres. Now, I'm gonna try to look at like kind of the overall team comp. So first of all, we have ogres. Then we have gits. Okay. You're gonna see these like bounder lists everywhere because people have just given up on Squig Herd for various reasons. I think Squig Herd is just one of those armies where it's like, if you just make a mistake, it all goes wrong, and then you're permanently traumatized for the rest of your life, and you never want to run them ever again. So I can see why people have gone to Boingrot Bounders, because Squig Herd is like, okay, well, I removed the wrong models, and now I'm gonna get stuffed on coherency, and that sucks. Or well, I lost some models and my opponent won the Triumph bid, so now I'm stuffed. Or, you know, there's just so many things that can go wrong with this unit. So, although it does 1 million damage and has all sorts of positives, I understand the Boingrots thing, and also, like, the main synergy pieces of the Squig Herd have gone up a lot, whereas the Boingrots, I mean, they benefit from some things, right? Like Gobapalooza, and Squig Boss and all those buffs as well, but they also can be perfectly functional without buffs, whereas Squig Herd are terrible without buffs. So that's the difference, right? So yeah, so we got Gits, we got a Nagash Soul Black Gravelords list with 30 skeletons. It was my impression that this army was dead, but perhaps that's not true. We will have to see. Yeah, I thought this was a bit weaker, but you know, it's still got that 5-turn kind of play going on. I just always worry when the Gash is just gonna again die in some freak accident. That's always, I just hate playing with models like that, you know. It's it hurts my soul. But good luck to Jazor. So we have Soul Black Gravelords, we have Sharks. Sharks can be everywhere. I don't need to talk about Sharks. There are plenty of other YouTubers that talk about Sharks. Now, I quite like that this list has Reavers, because once you take 9 Sharks, the list does become a bit awkward to build, so I understand the decision here. And I do think that Sharks are good, but if your whole army is Sharks, I can see that being a problem sometimes. So They are ultimately very swingy. So he's taken some things here that are a little bit more reliable. So particularly the King and the Reavers, right? They just kind of have a bit more reliable output, and then the Sharks still have the long range and the kind of swingy output. So we got IDK, and of course IDK. I think it's controversial whether or not it's good against cities, but I think some teams will take it with the view that it would be good against cities. I think it's not good against cities, but we're going to find that out as the tournament goes on who has the right opinion on that. But I would worry that, with the new cities in play, with all the abilities to bring models back, that the Alopexes are probably going to struggle to make a market impact in the early game. And once that ritual comes off where they can be shot from more than 12, I think they're going to have some issues with surviving for long enough. But we'll have to see what happens. So that's IDK. We have Nurgle. This list is everywhere. So there's 2 lists that everyone's playing in Nurgle, and it's one of the most popular armies. I do have a graph which I forgot to talk about, but we'll do that after this team. Okay, so but yeah, very popular army, and this kind of monster spam thing is everywhere. So we got Nurgle, and we have Seraphon. We have, this list is everywhere. The kind of small impact that you have is there's basically between 300 points and 400 points of random chocolate sprinkles you can add on the end, So, you can add your flavor of choice of whether you're going to take, I don't know, 20 Saurus warriors on foot, or you're going to take a Bastillodon with Arc of Sotek, or Bastillodon with Solar Engine, or something like that, right? There's kind of some wiggle room, but this hero core here is mostly the same for every list. So that's the situation with Seraphon. We have Stormcast. So this is the new Army of Renown. I think that it's not good, but we'll have to see, because I mean, it looks fun, but I look at that on the page and it's not many models, is it? I mean, it's literally 8 models, right? So, and 6 dragons. I don't know if that's enough, but we'll have to see. Yeah, it's a lot of models on a 3-up save, so armies that don't have a lot of mortal wounds or output are going to struggle. But I think in the meta, those are not everywhere. I will say, this list is quite good against Magic, probably, because a lot of it has a 4-up spell ignore, so that could be interesting, but I do worry about the wound count. And then we have all the steam tanks. I love it. These are great, actually. I do think that probably there's a point where taking more steam tanks is not a good idea, and perhaps this is past that point, but I still think that, yeah, because the problem is taking objectives, right? They still only count for 2 for objectives. So, okay, you're going to have to kind of blow everything off the objective. And they do a lot of damage, but if you don't get the spell off with the Warfolger for doing mortals on 6s, then they do decent damage, but probably not enough to blow the thing off the objective that you need to capture. So that would be my worry. But a very fun list indeed. So yeah, I think this team has some fun and wild lists for sure. But also kind of has some. I can see the ideas with what they're trying to defend against. So that's Potato Forge. Now I did say I was going to talk about a particular graph, which I didn't, and so I will do that now. So okay, so this is the meta overview. Okay, so we have Khorne at the top. 14 out of 18 teams are taking a Khorne. That's probably not a surprise in teams that Khorne is good, because, well, there are magic armies, and it's quite a good little natural counter. Nurgle is just very good, and not that hard to play, and quite easy to build a list. Gitz, I would say, is kind of just a popular army. I don't think it's that easy to play, to be honest, but yeah, it's just popular. But yeah, I think there's a lot that can go wrong when you play Gitz, for sure. I know I've been coaching some Gitz players over the years, and this year in particular, right? And yeah, there's just things that can go wrong. You can kind of full send and then get 20 0'd. It's very possible. So That's Gits. We have Seraphon. I think this is like kind of one of the strongest armies. So, and I think we all saw last event how strong Seraphon is. I think some of us kind of had some toes in the water, but we weren't entirely sure about how strong this army was. But it's insane, and I think a lot of people have taken up the opportunity to take the army. Bone Reapers has come back a bit, not because it's not good. I think, frankly, because it's a bit boring. I think we'd all agree that it's a little bit boring, right? So, yeah, there's not that many list building options for this army, so it is a little bit boring. So, despite the fact that I think it's definitely as strong as these armies up here, it's a little bit back. Cities, this is a newcomer, so we are using the new cities book. We're not going to, and then the fact came out, and then I went, all right, we can use it. The only thing we're not letting you do is do the same effect with Pontifex twice. Okay, everything else is fine. So that's cities. They're at 9. Karajan at a similar point. Skaven is at 8, which is a lot. That is a lot. I'm playing Skaven. Of course, a lot of the most handsome players in the tournament are playing Skaven, of course, because you kind of have to be to play the army. No, I'm kidding, but I think that Skaven is just the perfect Warhammer army, because I feel like, okay, maybe this says something about the strength of where the Bell and Sensibearer list is, but I feel like if I lose a game, it could almost be entirely blamed on me doing something wrong, which I kind of like when you're playing the army, because I know that suggests that the army's strong, but there's still some strong armies where you kind of don't have to play that well, but Skaven's still got that thing where it's like, oh, I did something wrong, and now my whole army's going to get completely destroyed. So that can still happen, right? You can still, fail a bunch of charges and just be sitting there with your balls out in the middle of the table. That can happen with Skaven. So a lot of the lists are running Bells and Sensibearers, I'm sure. But I'm sure there's also some other Verminlord ones in there, but we'll have a look there when we get there. Soulblights come back a bit. Sylvaneth, this is a surprise to me. I thought we'd have almost no Sylvaneth players, but maybe that's the new Army of Renown or the new hero or something. Sons of Behemoth, I thought this would be higher. And then the rest sort of are a bit smaller. I think Slanesh has come back a lot. Slaves, I think, is a bit criminally underplayed, to be honest. But again, it's kind of got the boring factor a little bit, so I get it. Ideneth is like... That's almost like disappeared. That's crazy. I mean, because the last event, people thought this would be insane, but yeah, that's crazy that it's only 3. I mean, it wasn't winning a lot, so it makes sense, but I would have thought people hold out the hopium for another patch, but we'll see. I think Ideneth and Nighthaunt are the two armies that, since the start of Third, since their books came out, where every GHB, it's them and Brutes, right? Every GHB, they get a points drop, and you're like, they have to be good now. They have to be good. And always it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, okay, yeah, Sharks have exploding sixes, but can we really play 5 turns of Warhammer with this army? Like, if the game lasts more than a double into 3 or a double into 2, can we win? And I think the answer is like, not really. So a lot of people are discouraged by playing that sort of army, which I understand. So that's probably why they come back. We have a few legends. One person's running Ninehorn. We have one Daughters of Cain, one Coalesced Hipster. Only one Big War, which is a bit surprising, and we have, obviously, one Cruel Boys, the ultimate Giga Chat of the tournament. And Mitch, who made this graph, has put Bone Splitters down here at 0, which just makes me sad. But, come on, somebody play Bone Splitters. No, they don't exist anymore. Rip. Alright, so that's the overview. I think Khorne and Nurgle being at the top and with Gitson is not a surprise. Seraphon's higher than I thought, and then some other armies have come back, but I think more or less what you'd expect. Yeah, more or less. So, we did the potatoes. Now let's talk about the seals. So this is I think partially an Onwards team, a little Onwards conglomerate. So shout out to Onwards AOS. Of course, I'm a coach there, and you can go view my content over there if you're interested. Now we have Andrea Knox, who's playing Khorne in Skull Fiends. I like it. With the Spawn Khorne. So, what does Spawn Khorne do? It makes a bunch of spawn, and it also tags you with said spawn, and makes Blood Tithe with said spawn. That's pretty good. Now, I say I kind of like running the Bloodthirster because you can do a bit more with the things that you summon, right? And this Grand Strat basically requires you to summon every turn. So, if you're not summoning, you lose your Grand Strat, so you have to summon. So best get the most out of it you can, in my opinion. So that's the argument for running the Bloodthirster, but of course you lose some points doing that, so there's a sacrifice. But I prefer the Bloodthirster. And we have a bunch of stuff to generate Blood Tithe and some stuff to kind of do the MSU fighting playstyle with the Wrathmongers and Skullfiends. So Spawn Corns everywhere. It's kind of what would you say about this list? It's a painstaking 5-turn game which can kind of win against most armies. So yeah, you'd expect it's going to be taking some red matchups that no one else wants to play against. So I think this is quite a good answer into cities, for example, a bunch of other armies. So it can kind of play against everything. Most of them have this 10 Skull Reapers blocks to just have something that does damage, but mostly it's a bunch of crap generating Blood Tithe. Okay, then we have Beasts of Chaos. Dark Walkers with a bunch of Bulgors and some Ungor Raiders. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed very much over the years, and it's got Bellicor, but, yep, it's good against, like, Lumineth and KO and some stuff, but if you play against something like Gitz, it can be miserable. It's a very hard army to play, for sure. You don't have a lot, and you need to use it properly. So that's that. Yeah, I don't have the mental strength to play this army. I just don't, because it can go wrong in one turn and then it's over. But yeah, I know some people like the kind of strategic element of playing Bok, but that's Bok. Then we have some Stormcast. I need to kind of fix the formatting here, but I think it's a mixed bag of stuff. I think does it have? No, it doesn't have Sevireth. Okay, a lot of the list he's been seeing lately, it's got Sevireth, but it's got a lot of long-range mortal wounds, some teleporting and annihilators, and otherwise probably just very good at battle tactics. I like Tempestors. That's the one. I think they're the best Stormcast unit probably. So looks good. So Stormcast. We have Croak. This time we have got his little axolotl riding guys. Just a side note here. I went down this whole rabbit hole this week of looking at axolotls because I saw some in a pet shop here in Japan. I didn't realize there's this whole thing where like axolotls are actually like baby salamanders. Well, basically, to give a Pokemon reference, they're basically like baby salamanders who are holding like an Everstone, and then you just can't evolve them. But then you give them like iodine, which is like, I guess you're giving them like a Thunderstone or something, right? And then they evolve into a salamander. Now, the question is, how would an axolotl get iodine? And the answer is basically, the thing I've surmised is basically it needs to eat a bunch of other axolotls. I think that's the natural way that it gets it. So basically, if you just become king of the jungle and you just eat everything, right, to survive. So basically, like, imagine a situation where you're in a pond where you have no longer any food other than your brothers and sisters, and you have to eat them. And then the pond, that's not hospitable anymore. So the best axolotl wins, and then that axolotl's gonna digivolve into a salamander and just live as a normal lizard. So they can reproduce without becoming full adults, but that's them. Anyway, we have a bunch of Raptidon Chargers, but that's Seraphon. And then we have Forget About It, who's playing Gitz, again with a lot of bounders, but still one big unit of Squig Herd. So a bit of the mix of the stuff that we've seen so far. Of course, you're seeing here that the Squig Herd has been paired with this Green Crack, because you kind of need that. So it's expensive, right? That's the sacrifice. And you don't really have like the typical kind of screenplay style. We see there's some other lists that have like 40 stabbers and then Boingrots, and you jump over the screen and hit stuff. It's more like traditional Warhammer. This is a little bit, it's unorthodox, right? Like, I know we've all become used to this play style, but it is difficult to play with. So best of luck. And I think it's still really strong, but of course you just got to play well with it. So that we have Gitz, and we have Cities. One of the first people running the abomination that is 2 6s of command cores. So what can this list do? Well, it can kind of have everything on +1 save, ignoring Ren from shooting, and It can bring back like 63 models to a Fusiliers unit. Can get a 5-up ward on all of it. And it shoots. Yeah. It's good. Moving on. We're going to see that a lot. It's a good list. Is he... What sub-faction is he? Halo Hot. Yeah, good. That's the one. So 3d6 to get the important spell off. And these Cavaliers are really good. Yeah, for 180 points, I think they're really solid. Being able to get like +1 attack on the charge, or just counter charge and get like the +1 rend. And otherwise be 10 wounds on a 3-up save. I think a lot of armies would kill to have this unit. So I know when they came out, people were saying they're overpriced, but they are pointed at this cost for a reason. They're super good for sure. Okay, so we have them, and then we have Polske, who's running Soulblight Gravelords. A Legion of Night list with a big block of skeletons, another person running the skeletons, and we have some Graveguard, and the guy who charters his little band of men and makes you not pile in. That's always horrible to play against, but it's good, right? Legion of Night counter charge, it's good. I think it's a bit weaker than it was, right? You get a lot less now, but definitely still good, especially as a defender, right? And then we have an Nurgle list. You notice it looks very similar to the one before because it's the same. We're going to see this a lot. My team is also running this exact same list. Now, this is a Luke Morton list, I will admit. So, yeah, this is a Luke Morton list, but it works. It's very good. I'd say the only issue that this seems to have in my eyes is if someone just puts like 40 clan rats in your face and just says, okay, I can't hit you, but you have to charge a monster in to hit me, and then I can just charge said monster with my hammer and then kill him and then still have my screen. That's the problem with the army, right? Is if on these missions where you're like in the middle and then your opponent just has crap, and then that like outnumbers the Plague Bearers. That's the problem, because you end up in the situation where like, oh shit, I need to like move my Glotkin over the Plague Bearers. Like it's a clumsy army to play, right? So these things can happen, especially versus like Skaven and stuff. So it can be problematic versus I think Skaven and sometimes Gits as well. So yep, but strong list as I was saying. So yep, onwards team. The Seals guys look super good. Okay, so we have Egg Timers. Now, I wasn't planning to put this whole team name in, but unfortunately, I made this document using a code, so unfortunately, it has transported the whole team name. So we have Egg Timers, a reserve team for Chess Clock O'Clock, and yes, Stuart put in the whole name, even this part. All right, we sped run that, but that's the name of the team. Basically, it's the Chess Clock O'Clock B team. I don't think they'll mind me saying that, but bunch of good players here, and some interesting lists for sure. So we have a Lumineth list. I think, is this the only Lumineth? Yeah, this is the only Lumineth, right? Interesting. So it's a mixed bag. I have like almost no knowledge about this army, so I'm just gonna say great guy, great list, I guess. I like Severith. And Light of Altharion. It does, like, I know Lumineth lists always look like they don't have enough on the board, but they do always surprise me with the output. But you do kind of have to play five sweaty turns with this army. That's what it is. So we have Lumineth, and then we have Seraphon. Now Loki's running Ionis Cryptgorn for his choice of chocolate sprinkles to his Seraphon army. This could be Gotrek. This could be the Axolotls. This could be Bastillodon. So I feel like we should make a bingo card. Maybe someone can make this of like potential Seraphon 400-point inclusions to just like when we get to Worlds, and this is still a thing, right? And we just tick this off as we read through the list because yeah, look, it's basically like there's one build and then it's just not 2,000 points, so find the 2,000 points. So we have Ionis here, does some mortal wounds, turns off Inspiring Presence. Can die, but at least you can like give it Mystic Shield and stuff reliably, so should be cool. Yep, Seraphon, cool. We have Osiarchs, but with 8 Morghast Archive, so We have a Man of Taste here. And we have the Aura of Blue Balls, as I call it, which is -1 to hit and wound and shooting, which is always horrible. And we have Arcan, but no Mr. Special K, Mr. Catacross. Looks interesting. It's definitely a lot less tanky than the normal OBR list, but it's got a bit more mobility. Alright, cool. We have Levi, who's running Slaves of Darkness. Knights of the Empty Throne. I was like, why the Baron Guard in the leaders section? Because my brain would just brain fight it for a second. But we're Knights of the Empty Throne, Be'lakor, Baron Guard. For some reason, it's fallen out of the meta. I don't know why. Still good. We have Detro, who's running. Is this my list? No. Okay, it's literally my list. Fair enough. It's good. I think this is the best list, so. Yeah. I prefer to run Spell Enhancement over... What's he got? Is he just lower drop? Yeah, he's just lower drop. I kind of prefer to run Spell Enhancement, but yeah, being lower drop is nice. Sure. I just found the only thing with being lower drop is, like, it's kind of easy to counterploy it against the Bell, so I just find it's best if you can to be higher drop, so you can kind of decide where your opponent's going to be dropped. Now, you will see this at Atlanta on the weekend. I think it's this weekend. This or next weekend. But the big difference here is just Leo has 10 Plague Monks as opposed to Bridge. That's the only difference. Yep, it's a really broken list, so he will do very well with it, I'm sure. Okay, we have Matt Sucks, who's playing Soulblight with some more skeletons. What's with the skeletons? This is crazy. There's more skeletons than I've ever seen before. Alright. Well, I guess everyone's... I don't know what's going on. So, what's the reason for the trend away from zombies, I wonder? If there is a trend. They're very durable skeletons, but I do just worry about how you're going to do damage. Yeah, it's a very low damage army, right? So, it's kind of more tilted into playing 5 turns and just surviving. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so then we have another Idoneth list. This time with more sharks. All the good things and bad things I spoke about earlier in the stream. Cannot play 5 turns of Warhammer. Is that a problem? Well, let's wait till turn 3 to find out. If we get to turn 3, it might be a problem, but if we don't get there, we don't get there, you know? So, it's the ultimate, I have a meeting at 5 o'clock, so let's get this done quick kind of thing. Yes. But if you want the slow roast army, that's not the one. So then we have Marty, who's running Ogres, with Kronspine. I thought that was the new Gorgeous, but it's not. Somebody run the new Gorgeous. Have we only got 2 Ogres players? Nobody's running the new Gorgeous. Somebody run the new Gorgeous. That means nobody's running the army for now either. My disappointment as a TO is immense. Now, you might say, Stuart, if you wanted someone to run it, why didn't you? And the answer is it's not very good, and that's why no one's running it. But I would say it's already an army that's not S tier. So in my head, if you're going to run Ogres, you may as well just have more fun with it. But this list actually has some chances to win a game. So fair enough. Okay, then we have Luke Morton's team with Binformers Rollout, which is, of course, Transformers. Now, you notice that every team has quite a good theme. I've tried to kind of instantiate that as a part of Release the Beast culture, is you have a theme, and when you introduce your team, you give everyone nicknames. Yeah, it's just like a fun thing, right? Because, you know, we get to Worlds, we play these team events where it's like, my name is Kevin from Team England, or something, right? Like, I mean, it's nice to play these like super serious events, but at the end of the day, although we're trying to win, right, we're still kind of like throwing around fantasy soldiers. So I kind of like the idea of when we're on TTS, just kind of like just having a bit of fun with it, right? So Luke's running Gits with a bunch of Boingrons and these 40 stabbers. I spent quite a long time with him this morning debating the merits of running stabbers versus shooters. Stabbers are just a better screen, okay? So, and they have quite a good natural synergy with Boingrots because you can jump over the stabber screen. So you can set up the stabber screen 9 inches away from an objective, which is still like kind of broken. That's a thing, right? That they can cap from 9 inches. It's still insane. So you can do that and then make your opponent come to you and then counterpunch with the Boingrots. You can defend quite well against shooting because you can just go like, okay, well, this Boingrots unit has +1 save and 5 up ward from the Snufflers. I don't think he has Snufflers in here, but some other lists do, right? He has Spore Splatters. That's another defense against shooting. I think Spore Splatters are complete bin, but that's just me personally. But strong list. But of course, you have to play it well. I don't think as well as the Squig Herd. There's more room for potentially bad play here. This is illegal. I'm going to... It is, right? I believe that is illegal. Let me double check. Is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Web Spinner Shaman can't take Clammy Hand. I will just have to make sure. Oh no, maybe the command traits are not locked. No, they're not, right? No, that's fine. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, that used to be locked, but I guess it's not anymore. There we go. So then, okay, so get out your bingo sheets. We have another Starborn list. Do spin the wheel, and we have Alan who's running Starborn. Now he's changed the hero loadout, so we have a serious innovator here. Okay, so we have a Troglodon, and then we have a Bastiladon. Cool. Okay, that's all I can say on this. I have to say, okay, I get that, you know, we like playing Magic armies, and this is fun and all, but it is amazing that it's kind of all the same list. And it's a shame, because it's a new book, right? You kind of want it to be a bit more moving parts in terms of the list construction, but yeah, it's the 300, 400 points I spoke about before, right? Okay, Sven is running cities, pretty similar list to the one we saw before. I think it's maybe identical. Yep, so we can move on. Okay. We have Chris who's running, I think it's Christoph, right? Who's running Crematorians OBR. I'm just going to give that a capital C because that's going to annoy my eyes. And we have Catacross, Liege Cavalos. Then we have the Ossifector, who's, I guess his main role is to make the Immortus battle line, I would guess, looking at this list, but because otherwise, I guess the other units are too expensive, I guess, and you want the Liege of Cavalos for the +1 attack. So it's kind of like the Nurgle list, right? The Monster Mash one, but more like Hero Hammer style. And I do like it because you do get the 6 heal, right? And then Arcan heals in combat anyway, so very durable. But it doesn't have that 30 more tech block. So I can see how it's like maybe sometimes difficult to score sometimes, right? Especially in the early game, but it's probably, yeah, it's, I don't know if it is more durable. It's more durable probably in one hit than the Mortec, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought this list was always a bit weird, but he doesn't lose with it, so fair play. Maybe it's good. I don't know. That's the OBR. We have Steve who's running the Black Knights. This has been nerfed several times, but I think it's still good. I mean, basically I think the first round the Black Knights went up, and then after that the White King went up a bit. So it has got more expensive, but it's still like it's a Soul Black Gravelords that's better in the early game than the other ones, but maybe like slightly worse in the late game. So that can be, I think that can be fine. But if you play on battle plans where you need to score high on turn 4 or 5, which honestly there's not that many at the moment, but you know, like Geomantic Pulse can have swings there. I can see how this could maybe be a slight weakness for this army, because like it can do a lot early, but it kind of has to, because if your opponent moves onto the middle and can outscore the Black Knights, then you'll be in a situation where it's going to be very difficult to take the ejectors back. So you kind of want to like push up, control the objectives, and you know, maintain control of the ejectors through zoning rather than killing, because this list does damage, but it's more about pinning and zoning, using the big base sizes, mortal wounding stuff off where you can. But it's not going to do that much damage after the first charge. So that's the weakness, but I'm sure it will be interesting to use. Then we have Nurgle. We have the list, but this one has 3 Maggot Lords instead of Fatso, instead of the Guo. Moving on. And it's Blessed Sons, because you don't have the Demon General. But then Nathan Watson's running Be'lakor with a bunch of Splintered Fang. I think this list is really good. I don't know why not everyone's... it's probably the boring factor, right? But it's good. It's really good. Yeah. Then we have Slaanesh. I did know that you could make this list, but we have Contorted Epitome, 55 Bliss Barbs, and 20 Slick Blades. Now, it's a very intellectual list. I think maybe saying it has 3 War Scrolls is maybe even a stretch, because the Epitome, realistically... I mean, maybe she fights once in the late game, but the spells... I mean, she has a +1 to wound spell that matters, like, kind of, sort of. Not really. It matters for the Slick Blades, but not for the archers. Other than that, the idea is that she doesn't die to mortal wounds because she's got a 2-up shrug, and so she's just the most tanky general you can get to issue 3 commands. And then other than that, you're just playing with the rest of this army. I love Slaanesh models and lore and theme and everything, but the books have always been awful. And this one is just... someone told me the other day that if Pretenders doesn't exist, then Slaanesh is worse than Bone Splitters. I think there might be some truth in that, unfortunately. But, yeah, the Pretenders list is still good. Okay, so we have the Clocks. So the Clocks won, I believe, or came second in. Came second in, right? Released the Beast 7. That's right. Or did they win? I can't even remember now. That's not good. Hold on. Let me just fact check that quickly. RTB 7 results. They came third, I think, but I think they drew to the winners at the end. Anyway, they're a strong team is what I wanted to say from it, and they did well last event too. So looking to do well here. Rhino has been running filthy cities armies for a while now. I think he's made probably more tweaks than the other people playing the army, so this looks a little bit less cookie cutter, but it has more of a screen in the form of the Blackguard, while still maintaining the Fusiliers. You can kind of pick between running Blackguard and running Steam Tanks as like your Screaming Bell, insert Chaos Warriors, various Anvil choices, right? I tend to prefer the Steam Tank, but this is more durable, for sure, than the Steam Tanks against most armies, but we'll have to see how he goes. But yeah, it looks strong. Mitch is running the new Lofnir Drothkeepers, which I think is kind of a wonky army. The reason why it's a bit wonky is because it kind of plays a very... I want to say boring type of Warhammer, but that's not quite the right word. I mean, basically, like, it's kind of what Firesayers has always been, which is stuff that doesn't die with 4-up rally. But it has the added benefit of having, like, some level of mobility with the Magmadroth transports. So, yeah, interesting for sure. No access to the prayers sucks, but, yeah, I mean, other than that, it's basically, like, got really good battle tactics. That's the main benefit of the army. Battle tactics, 5-up ward on the Flame Seekers, and kind of disgustingly good against enemy monsters. Now, I have noticed that he's decided to take Seed of Rebirth instead of the artifact, which I believe like makes monsters count for less or something. I don't know. There were some Gargants players, right? So maybe he could have taken that, but maybe he just thinks that against Seraphon and stuff, being able to re-roll the heroic recovery is better. Could be. I mean, in most matchups, maybe this is better. Fair enough. So that's that. We have KO, Baraknar, kind of a mixed arms one, right? He was running this in at least a very similar thing in Butchers and did very well. Mac, and he's got basically Frigates and Riggers, Thunderers and Ironclad, and then some stuff. So, good mixed arms. But yeah, it's not a lot on the board now. It's obviously gone up a lot in points. Satin Boy. Oh, it's nice to see he's gone back to Khorne. That's nice. He's been on a journey with Big War and Feck, but I think Khorne's always been the mainstay. That's nice. So he's got Spawn Khorne with 2 Bloodthirsters, which is interesting. I think that this can work. I think we looked at a similar thing. We just decided not to run it because we haven't tested it enough, but I'd love to see how this goes. I think it can work, definitely, in theory. I'm just gonna mark the battle line here, I think. I'll just do that. Okay, cool. So that's that list. And then Blood Moon is running OBR. I thought there would be 30 more check with a Harvester, but I mean, yeah, the Harvester is cheap enough that you can probably justify running this, right? I'd be interested to hear his thoughts about this. I'm not the expert on OBR at all. I'm not going to pretend to be, but there's definitely been a little bit of a movement away from Null Myriad, because it used to be that you could kind of win all these melee matchups just because your army was broken, but now, you know, it's all gone up a bit, so probably you're going to have to take something that helps you in these matchups. So we saw Crematorians, now we saw Mortis Praetorians. Makes sense, right? So we have OBR, we have Seraphon, but this is an intelligent man, because here we have Coddle's Claw, right? Yeah. And we don't have Starborn. Yeah, there's possibly some rules things we have to clarify about this, but looks interesting. I do worry about like how long you can survive with this sort of list, but we'll have to see how it goes with it. Okay, then we have the first Skaven list. Mechrat's been running this everywhere. He's been taking names. It's basically, I run a lot of these lists as well, where it's like 2 of this thing, 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 and then you usually end up like with like 180 points, and you're like, okay, let's just put this last little cherry on the top. So his cherry on the top is a Hell Pit Abomination, but other than that, it's like 2 of the same unit, pretty much. I mean, Warbringer and Vermin King obviously different, but kind of similar roles, right? Basically combat guys who have good spells. Then we have 2 Plague Priests, 2 Graziers, 2 20s of Clan Rats, 2 units of 10 Censer Bearers, and Hell Pit. Now, I think that taking 2 15 Censer Bearers is probably better than taking the Hell Pit, but to each their own. He's done very well with his list, and I expect him to do well in this event. So we have Tavi, who's running all the Bliss Barbs with Glutos. Yeah. Again. Again, more Bliss Barbs. They're taking over. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, right? This list makes sense. I just wish that in this world there would be more for us Slaanesh fanboys than Bliss Barbs. But Tavi, I think part of being a Slaanesh player is that you have to enjoy the pain of only having good War Scroll, 1 good War Scroll or 2 good War Scrolls. That's part of the depravity of the god of Slaanesh. So that's what we have to endure. That's our curse that has been assigned from Kami-sama, and that is Tavi's list. So then we have Australia's top 8 most venomous spiders. Now, I always give people spider names. I have to admit my Australian spider knowledge was not up to task this time. In the last tournament, I was playing with snakes, so we did snakes, and I mostly could do that off the top of my head, but this one it was quite difficult. Also, what's interesting is because we have some players who are not from Australia, I tried to find some like introduced snake species and spider species, and there really like aren't any. So that just shows how protective Australia is of its wildlife. But there's so many introduced mammals. I thought there would be like some introduced bugs, but like not really. If anyone knows any introduced spiders, please let me know. Okay, so we have my list, which is I kind of wonder what I was smoking when I made this list. That's just part of my thinking, and also I still think that it's potentially good. Now the question is this better than the copy pasta? Well, my list has now become the copy pasta, which is 3 bells and 30 Censer Bearers and all that. No, this is not better than that. It's objectively worse, but I always think that in my head, if you play a broken army for too long, your brain your Warhammer brain starts to break and you start doing plays that if you're playing with any other army would be so terrible, but with this army it kind of forgives you. And then what happens is I rock up at Worlds and I've only been playing broken armies for months. My army gets nerfed and I have to play another army that's not broken and I can't play the game anymore. So this is me actively checking against my own spiral into broken Warhammer disease. So it's still a good list, okay? But it's definitely a level back from the other one for sure. So basically it's 3 Bells, 2 Master Molders, 2 4s of Rat Ogres, 2 20s of Clan Rats, 2 6s of Giant Rats, and then 2 4s of Rat Swarms. Now, why am I running Rat Swarms? Well, they're quite good to pass wounds off from the Bells. That's the reason why. Because this list just runs away at the drop of a hat. So the fact they're Bravery 10 is quite nice. But other than that, they're obviously terrible. But yeah, for what the points are, the Giant Rats do battle tactics and then die, and then I get them and can use them as a screen, or another 6 wounds from the Bells. This list has like no damage, and that's what I'm worried about. But hopefully it will be okay. So that's that. Orkman is running Cruel Boys with 30 Gut Rippers, and also a bunch of Bolt Boys and 16 of the Monster Killers. So that's fun. We mainly obviously brought this as a cities counter, but it can do stuff as other armies for sure. So that's them. We have Geordie who's running Spawncorn. I think I kind of talked about Spawncorn, but yep, another Spawncorn. We have Ray who's running, for some reason the format's weird, but let me fix this. My eyes cannot withstand this. Why is it out of the space? Single. Okay, we'll just have to do this manually. Anyway, while I'm backspacing this, basically it's the same list, right? I mean, it's 2 Maggot Lords. We have a Guo. I'm going to put battle line here. And then we have 3 units of 20 Plague Bearers. So, that's the list. Everyone knows what it does. And yeah, it's the list that everyone else is running. So that's that. We have OBR. This is the copy pasta because Liam wants to play it. And this is probably the best list in my opinion. So, again, I'm not the OBR expert, but I kind of just look at what does well. And this seems to be good for me. So that's OBR. And then we have KO with Thring, which gives you like an extra prayer for mortal wounds for your lads. And you got a bunch of heroes, and then 20 Arcanauts, 30 Arcanauts, 15 Thunderers, and an Ironclad. I actually really like this list, and I'm looking forward to see how Nathan does with it. And then we have Kurgol, who's another Orc legend, who's running Ironjaws. Now, you might say, why is he running Ironjaws in 2023? But I've seen this man destroy many an opponent with the Ironjaws, and I think he will continue to do so in this tournament. I have the faith in the Ironjaws. Now, I don't particularly have faith in Brutes, but the unfortunate reality of playing Ironjaws is that you have some weird point kind of bottlenecks where you've made your army and you have some weird points value that doesn't fit anything, and so this is probably the best thing that fits in that points avenue, I'm guessing, is the genesis of this. So, I mean, I think it would be better if they were 6 picks, but we can't all have everything, so that's the Brutes. And then we have the Army of Renown, Sons of Behemoth. So that's my team, and we've got some kind of interesting lists here because we came second in the last event, so we should be fine for the finals. So we're looking to just kind of experiment a bit here. All right, I take a drink of the highball. So how are we all doing? I will just take a 20-second break here and read the chat. So where are we up to? All right. How are we all doing? You could have spoken about my far superior spawn corn. Aussie already had all the deadly spiders. No other survived. Yes, Hugo. I think that's probably what went on as well. And I think the reason that our mammals didn't win the fight against rabbits is because, like if you think about the anatomy of a kangaroo, like, how does a kangaroo fight against a rabbit? Because it can't really kick lower than it, right? Like, it can only kick in an upward arc. and then it's not going to punch the rabbit, is it? Like, because it can't reach that far down. So how does a kangaroo deal with a rabbit, right? I don't think there's really any way that it can do that. I wonder about foxes though, because surely like a kangaroo can like beat the shit out of a fox, surely, right? Maybe they just like, maybe the foxes just don't fuck with the kangaroos. Maybe that's the vibe. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to it. So we have corn again. I think this is a more trad list from traditional list from memory. Yeah. So this is the kind of list that it's really interesting in corn because we're just seeing so many like evolutions now, but this is like kind of pre-spawn corn, but also before the MSU garbage thing that I was running. That wasn't that good, it turns out, but at the time it was kind of hot. This I think is still really solid, but it's I guess it's an old iteration, but still something that's good. But I do think it's probably not as good as like you would say like a defender army, like an army that can score well versus everything. It can score higher than the spawn corn, but it can also lose easier, I think. So that's the difference in my head between those lists from a team construction perspective. So that's that list. We have is this the only Zinch? Or we have a few Zinch, don't we? We have 5. Okay, that must be coming later. So we have Zinch with Gaunt Summoner, a bunch of heroes, and then we have a bunch of pinks. And I think no, this one doesn't have Kronspine. Okay, this is the one without Kronspine. So we have a bunch of pinks. It's kind of a little bit of a DPS check army / go for the late game sort of thing, right? But I can see how it would be challenging for some armies to get through this many horrors. I would love to see how this army goes against something like Soulblight Gravelords. Of course, it'd be an extremely long game, but I think that this can do well against these sorts of lists that want to score, just a few points. So it can kind of be like an anti-defender defender, you know what I mean? Like, you see your opponent's first defender, you don't defend with this, you attack with it, and it can actually win the defender matchup and stop your like big hitter army from being like softened by a defender army, if that makes sense. So like the big army that wants to get the 20-0, instead of attacking with that, you can attack with this into like something that's a good defender army. So like Soulblight Gravelords, for example, and you're gonna win and probably get more points than this army deserves. So I think that can be the role of this sort of army, right? We have Sluky, who's running Caradron Overlords, and we got Barak Urbaz, and I just want to see. Okay, so this is the one with Gotrek, right? I mean, I think KO's kind of got a similar thing with Seraphon, where you like do like Thunderers and the Ironclad, and then you're just trying to figure out what you're doing with the rest of your points, because like you can't do like another 15 Thunderers and another Ironclad. That doesn't fit. So, Gotrek and Thunderers makes sense. Cool. We have Starborn. Get your bingo boards out. This time it's we have the 10 axolotls, and then we have some camo skinks making a cameo appearance. That was a terrible joke, but I apologize for that. But we have we have Seraphon. Okay, we have Bok with some Bulgors. Okay, we have Sylvaneth with. Okay, what's this? Now the Sylvaneth list. I want to know what's going on. All right, we need to figure out what's going on here. Yes, Philip in the chat, you're right. We are running your OBR list extremely shamelessly. But that's Warhammer, that's fine. We have Sylvaneth with Lady of the Vines, Archrev, Branch Witch. That almost looks like a Czech word or something. It's got so many consonants, right? And then Belthanos, Tree Revs, 6... I said 2 6s of Hunters with Great Swords and Belthanos. Okay. I'm assuming we have Spies 1-5. Yeah. Okay. So. Now, my thinking is probably we can do 6 Hunters with Great Swords and then 6 Bugs. That's what I'm thinking I would do. I don't know about Lady of the Vines. I know you get the 5-up ward, but it's not reliable, is it? Especially in Heartwood, the Reaping. Okay. Well, it's good to know, right? So, I can see how this works. It's got a lot of damage, right? yeah, I would just maybe prefer the 6 bugs over the great swords personally, but I'm not a Sylvaneth player, but that's my thinking anyway. We have Vivu, who's playing Soulblight Gravelords. We have more skeletons. We're drowning in a sea of skeletons, it seems. But yeah, a similar list to one before, right? Big Anvil, countercharging Graveguard, and some heroes to go on solo missions. Perhaps there's too many points in heroes, but it's also kind of one of the only ways you get damage, so I understand. Risa, who's running Slaves to Darkness with Kabbalists. Okay, how many Varangard do we have? Okay, so we have Chosen. Oh, okay, that's a surprise. Alright, this is the one where these sorts of lists are the ones where I need to go through and check the loadout, but looks okay, I think, from what I'm seeing. What can I say about this list? I've seen these Therodons popping up everywhere lately. I kind of wonder whether they're just better than Chosen. Especially in Kabbalists. Yeah, I would probably just prefer to take more of them over the Chosen, but yeah, we'll have to see, I guess. So that's the Austrian team. So then we have the first Spanish team. So Peace was never an option. It's a very dramatic name. That's extreme. I mean, the other one is like Go Nuts in November or something, which is a great name, by the way. It's an extreme name. So Peace was never an option. Is okay? So I'm wondering what the genesis of this the name of this team is. I'll have to ask Mark what it is. But so we have Seraphon again, and this list has 20 warriors. That is the loadout this time, which I think that's probably. I think between that and the Raptidons is the two I like the most, in terms of having some defensive capability, right? So that's that. And then we have Sensu, who's running Blades of Corn. We have kind of a classic build, I'd say. So we have Bloodletters, we have Bloodthirster and Scarbrand, makes sense, right? And a Skull Cannon. Okay, we have Geordie, who's running Zinch. Is this the one with the Kronspine? I swear I saw a Kronspine somewhere, no, but it's Horrors, and this one, okay, this one is the Kairos Bellicor one, okay. So, I think, yeah, everything I said about the previous one applies, but I think this is even better as kind of Defender Buster, or just Defender, optionally, right? We have Sergio, who's running Stormcast. What have we got? We got Dragons, okay, with 6 long strikes. Yep, cool. We have Perico, who's running yet another one of the same version of the same Nurgle list. It's a disease. It's taken over. Yeah. Far out. Whoever made this list rolled a lot of 6s. Yeah. We have Sons of Behemoth with King's Broad Stomp. I think this is an amazing army. I think we can get this stat up a bit more. Of the 6 Sons of Behemoth, we can get that up a bit. I think that this army's great. I would love to play this army if my teammate wasn't, but of course we all can't play the same army. So we have Sons of Behemoth, King Broad Stomp, very good. Kind of a bit more durable than normal Gargants, and it's kind of got better battle tactics, and it's just kind of better. We have Marco, who's running OBR, and we have more Morghast Archive. So it's faster, but again, durability is a question mark for me. And then Javi is running Spirit of Durthu, Alariel, Branch Witch, and then 2 units of Tree Revs, Dryads, and a Tree Lord. And what are we? We are Null Root. Okay, so we're not Winterleaf. That's okay. And the old Wild Hunt guy with the lion. Okay, so this is an Alariel list. So with Durthu, I don't know. I kind of like running bow Kurnoths with Alariel, but this can do more damage. It's a little bit of an uninteractive army, if we're honest, but it can be good for sure. Okay, so that's that list. That's that team, and then we'll move on to Team Narrative, who came third in the last event, so a team to watch for sure. And we have, oh, by the way, the winners of the last event were, why is my brain not working? Was Team versus Germany, so we'll get there in a second. But this is third, and then the Aussie Snakes came second. So these are third, Aussie Snakes second, and the Germans were first. So, all right, I will have to fix up this format in a sec. I won't do it on stream, but we have Philip, who's running, I think what he was running on Onwards. So if you want to see Philip play a game with this, with some commentary, you can go check out the Onwards Patreon. But we have Steam Tanks and we have Fusiliers. So I think I was talking to Toby about this yesterday. I think the Steam Tank role in this list can be quite similar to the Bells in Skaven. Like, you have a very similar base size, and I think the Bells are more durable, but the Steam Tanks can sometimes be as durable if your opponent doesn't have Rend, right? So the two up save can be a problem for some armies to deal with, but otherwise do more damage than the Bells do, for sure, and especially at range. So they can add to the shooting output, but most importantly can be a good shield and a good kind of mid-board unit. So I like this list a lot. It makes sense to me running this sort of thing. The Steam Tanks with the with the 30 Fusiliers for sure. Okay, Sergey is running Skaven. I think he's stuck with the Grey Seer on foot. Yep, and now has Shaman of the Chilled Lands and the same endless spells. Did very well with this last event, and will continue to. Yeah, this is the first iteration I sent him, and I think, yeah, I kind of went away from it, and then I came back to it, and then I went away from it, but I didn't lose with this one. I just sometimes wonder what the Grey Seer and Foot does, but maybe giving him Shaman of the Chilled Lands makes it a bit more justifiable. Yeah, because I kind of like the fact you can cast Death Frenzy out of Unbind range, right, with this guy. I can see how that can be useful. I just wonder if you are better off playing with another Bell, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the 3 Bell list is slightly more popular at the moment, but this is obviously good too. We have DM Crew, who's running Slaves to Darkness, who's done very well with this, and it's basically, I'd say, a slight DPS checklist with Be'lakor and 6 Vanguard, so kind of difficult to deal with for a lot of armies, and has good matchups into things you think it wouldn't, so it's interesting in teams for sure. We have Vlad, who's running OCR Bone Rippers, I guess because Philip changed to cities. And okay, so we have city. So Philip's OBR list. I think it's the same as the one we're running. Maybe there's some slight spell variation, but other than that, it's 1-drop. I think we debated going Acolytes, but in the end we decided the Bone Shapers are mostly there for the regen, and if they get spells off it's nice, and otherwise they don't really care. So and I think we're still Null Myriad as well. So yeah, super solid list. We have Gits with 236s of Squig Herd. Now, yeah, and Green Track. So I think in my head, I think if you're gonna take the Squig Herd, maybe you just go this way, right? And just take the full shebang. In my head, if you go like half Boiling Grots, half Squig Herd, it's, then it's like, okay, do you take Green Track? It's a lot of points to just run like 640 points for kind of one unit's thing, right? So I think that this makes sense. I do probably think that the Boiling Grots are better overall, but if you have a lot of practice with this and doing well with it, I wouldn't see any reason to shy away from it. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Okay, so then we have Skullfiend, Spawn Corn. Yep. It's back again. The corruption is spreading. I want to say at this juncture, like, there's no way that this is not going to get nerfed, right? Like, we're all accepted this collectively as a community, right? That this is 100% getting completely removed from the game next Battle Scroll. Because if you all keep playing it, it's just dead immediately, right? Because they don't want this to be a thing, clearly. Because it's so random running a Tzeentch Wizard in Khorne. Like, and there's so many weird rule stuff that can happen. There's just no way that this is going to survive time, is it? I mean, either with the Skaven list, right? But, you know, this is the one where it won't be like it'll just get slightly nerfed. It's like if it gets nerfed at all, it's probably just dead, right? So you just go back to other Khorne lists, I guess. But for now, it's great. We have Seraphon. Has anyone got bingo? Psycho Mirage says that he has bingo. I don't know if it's to do with that, but we have another Seraphon list, and this time we have I'm a little bit confused. Okay, yeah, we have the Raptidons. So we have the team axolotls here. Then we have Ryanette, who's running KO, of course, and we have, I think, quite similar to what he was running before with the big Archanaut blocks and Thunderers. My team's list is quite similar, but the sub-factions, of course, different. I believe Stormcaller is the one that makes the Navigator better. I always really liked that command trait. That's a nice little spot. Yep, looks solid. So that's team narrative. Then we have the Team Potato 2, Electric Boogaloo. I believe that we are playing this team. So we have Mark, who's running Khorne. We have a bunch of Boomthirsters. I can see Toby's influence here because this is Toby's list, but it's good for sure. Yeah. The only thing I worry about this list is Festus. I don't think that this is the best thing that you can put here, but yeah, it's a solid list. Interested to see how he does with it. We have this is the Kronspine one. We have Kronspine, and we have a bunch of Foot Wizards. So, I mean, and we don't have... Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and assume that the Magister is bound to the Kronspine. Roy, if you see that and you have any issue with that, then let me know, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume. So, bonded to Kronspine, Incarnate of Gur. Okay. Yeah, because the idea of this list is you kill the Madras to make the Kronspine go wild, and I'm assuming it's going to eat the Sigil is the plan. So, still annoying to deal with, but it is not a lot on the board, right? So that's the worry with playing this, and if you fail to roll the Dispel with the Incarnate, usual problem where you just lose the game, right? No, that's the problem with the Incarnate. Okay. Then we have Oops All Tree Lords, and I still hate playing against this a lot. It's awful. It's horrible to play against. This is a list that's always done super well in Europe. I don't think it's kind of made its way around the whole world for some reason, but particularly Central Europe, it's done super well. Yep, it's annoying. I don't think this one is... Yeah, this is Oakenbrow, so it doesn't have the no pile-in... sorry, it does have the no pile-in thing, but it doesn't have the no retreat thing, but still annoying for a lot of armies to play against for sure. Okay, Nurgle. Now this one is slightly different. We have an intellectual here. We have 60 Plague Bearers, and we've dropped some monsters, and we have more stuff on the board. I found this list has some problems. I've tried to play test like running lots of Plague Bearers, but they really don't do anything. Like, you can stop people from piling in, but sometimes that's not enough, right? So, like, for having the effect of stopping pile-ins, they don't need to be a 20. So the 20 is more about objective securing, but and that's good and all, but it's not an army that can score battle tactics necessarily better than your opponent either. So it can be awkward to win the game. You definitely can score a lot against a lot of armies, but sometimes it's you get to turn 5 and it kind of doesn't shake out that well, is what I found anyway. So that's why I kind of went more towards the monsters, but interested to see how it goes. Of course, it's a lot of wounds there, right? It's 188. Okay, we have another Draconith Skywing. So can someone tell me why we're taking this and we're not taking the Ogre's Fantastic Morpit sub-faction? Why are we not doing that? Because clearly this is like the same level, okay? Okay, maybe that's unfair. Maybe this is better than that. But it's still got the kind of Ultra Timmy level, right? So if we're going to go Ultra Timmy, can we also do the Gorges? Alright. I should have done it. Because no one else is going to do it. I've never been more disappointed in my life. No, it's fine, obviously. But so we have Ionis, 2 units of 2 Stormdrake Guards, Krondus, Yeah, I have ruled. Of course, the fact has come out now, but I did rule that you could take the spell and the prayer on Ionis. And we have a bunch of dragons. Now, it's still like no models on the table, like at all. But I hope it goes well. People saying in the chat, dragons better than Gutbusters. What is that sacrilege? What is that sacrilege? It's true, but it's true, but you don't have to hurt my feelings. Then we have Clemens, who's playing Skaven. Okay, this is an assortment of stuff. Let me take a drink while I try to work this out. Okay, so 2 bells, a furnace, a warbringer, and then 2 priests. So you get your battle tactic for having 3 priests, but you don't get the 3 master clan. Okay. Then we have 15, 10, 20, 20. So 15, 10 of Sense of Bearers, 2 20s of Clan Rats, and the Plague Pack. Okay. So basically, compared to the normal list, you lose Claw Steps Ahead and 5 Sense of Bearers and Bridge, and you get a Warbringer. Okay, personally, if it were me, I would probably take... How many points we got? Yeah, I would take this Plague Priest out to be a Foot Gracier, and I think the list is better. I think that list can work if you do that. So having the 3 prayers is great, but I think losing Claw Steps is too much of a big deal, because I've played a lot of games with that now, and sometimes it's just a case where you like roll a 9 on your first unit to charge on a key turn, and the game's just over. Like, so many times my opponents have been like, well, I just can't do anything now. Like, there's no possibility of defense, like when your whole army can just auto charge 9s, right? So I think that's more vital than getting the extra battle tactic from the prayer. That's my opinion. But I do kind of like the idea around trying to get the Warbringer in. It's something that I'd like to tweak a bit. So we'll see how that goes. So we have KO with 2 frigates and 2 9s of engine riggers. That's alright. This is the full send version with Brock. Okay. Well, it's not a list you can make mistakes with. I'll say that. If you stuff it up, it's over for sure. But it's scary, man. Yeah, it can be very challenging to play against this list. I've played against mixed arm versions and versions with Skywardens, and it can be hard to kind of screen off the charge and then the get out, and then the 3d6 charge out of Fly High. It can be quite hard to play against for sure. Oh, sorry. I don't know why the thingy was wrong. Then we have Gloomspite Gits with 30 Boingrots and 2 units of 20 Stabbers. So I think this is almost identical to Luke Morton's list, but the difference is he had 2 5s of Spore Splatters, and instead of 15-15, he had 15-10-5, and then 140 of the Stabbers. So let me think about which I would prefer. I like this, by the way, that you can get Acolytes doing this. That's cool. I mean, he doesn't really have much to cast, right? But that's okay. Maybe taking Gravetide is something that could be investigated here, right? Because the Triumph is good, but it's not like 100% necessary against everybody. Could be something that's oh, it's just Math Mellow's list. Okay. Right. I've forgotten what that list looked like, but okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wonder whether you could add an Endless Spell just to have something you can do with that guy, but I guess he's probably not going to be in range anyway. He's probably just going to be in the corner casting Magical Dominance and chucking Mystic Shield on himself or something, right? So he's probably not doing anything anyway, but yeah, I mean, the Boingrots are nice. I think this list makes a lot of sense. I'm just trying to think whether I'd prefer 15, 10, 5 and 40 Stabbers, or 15, 15 and 2 20s of Stabbers. I mean, you're obviously running the 2 units of 5 Fanatics, right? And I prefer that more than... I think, as I said, I think Spore Splatters a bin. So I'd prefer that over the the Spore Splatters, and if you're doing 2 fires of Phonetics, obviously you're going to go 2 units of 20 Stabbers, so that makes sense to me. But I always just don't like about the 20 Stabbers that you lose one model and then they can't do the cap 9 thing. That's always a problem for me, but I guess you can't get everything that you want. So that's all the list there. So now we're on to... we still have quite a few teams list, I guess, but what are we on to now? Team Worst of Germany. Alright. It's at this point, I will kind of speed through it, the rest of them. But we will address stuff when we can. So Toby is running, again, a list where you lose the claw steps ahead, and I don't like that, but this is the only way you can fit the star of the show, which is floor play claw catapults in. Toby's maybe slightly whiffing the hopium on the play claw catapults, but I respect the continued commitment to shooting stinky rocks into people. I've just found that they miss all the time. And it also, I found the problem that they kind of have like terrible synergy with the Sensor Bearers, but because the Sensor Bearers, if they charge something, they kill it, right? So if you weaken the thing that they're going to charge, it's probably going to die anyway. That was the problem I had with this list, but yep. Best of luck. It should be good anyway. Because obviously it's a very strong army. Alright, so this list I like more with the Sylvaneth. This makes a bit more sense to me than the other ones I've seen. With the bows and the greatswords, because you kind of like can't really fight. It's hard to fight with 2 units, right? Like Belthanos you can because he's fast enough, but he can kind of be like a mini Alariel. But a lot of the time, you're picking 1 point on the mid board to defend, say with the greatswords or something, and then you're venturing off on a strike and fade journey with the other unit, right? So this list makes sense to me. Then Danpo, we're running Nurgle with... Okay, so we have a 30 block of Plague Bearers and a bunch of Beasts of Nurgle. Yeah, I think in my head that this makes more sense than running like 60 Plague Bearers as running Beasts of Nurgle, because you have the opportunity to... Like, they still do the same thing with the no piling, right? But they're a bit faster, and you can... I think also better at battle tactics, so that makes sense. Tanuki is running a bunch of Bulgors, as I said, particularly good into a few things like, KO and Lumineth and all that, but potentially rough against other things. It can be a tricky army to play, but I think this player's quite practiced on it, is my understanding. And then we have OBR with... okay, now I'm a little bit... Alright, I do kind of want... So I'm just going to put the... I have to fix this on other people's lists, but if we can try to put the number of the things that are in the unit, because it's just kind of hard to read, right? But it's that, right? And then this is 2. But yep, I think pretty similar to the list around the place. You only have 1 unit of 5 Death Riders, which means if that dies, you could lose a battle tactic. That's the weakness of these lists that I found, but I guess you have access to another one with the Harvester, but yeah, the Death Riders battle tactic is quite nice, so losing 1 is a challenge, because often shooting armies will just try to kill this as soon as possible to deny that. But yeah, I get it. Then we have Soulblight with... Oh my gosh. How has every Soulblight list got 30 skeletons? Oh my gosh. Okay, but this has 2 units of 20 Graveguards, so very Anvil and or like Bait and Hammer style of play. Okay. Then we have Seraphon, and then the spice, the chocolate sprinkles this time is Gotrek. Okay, and then we have Gitz with a mix of Boingrot Bounders and Squig Herd. Okay, so that's Team Verst. Of course, they won last time. So you would expect them to do well based on player skill, but of course, I think there is some level of experimentation going on here, much like our list, because, I mean, especially this team is like 100% locked for finals, so yeah, they don't have to podium this time if they don't want to, but potentially can still, of course. Okay, so we have Team 18+, which used to formerly be team number 18, which was our ragtag pack of goons to fulfill the amount that my tournament format required. So we have Mr. Ratley running Cities of Sigmar with Hello Heart, and we have the Marshal and Griffin, who always does more damage than I expect, and 2 Command Cores and 30 Fusiliers. Ouch. Yeah, I mean, what I said about the other cities list, we can apply to that one. We have DLF, who's running 2 monsters, more skeletons, and Blood Knights. We have Christoph, who's running Blades of Khorne with a bunch of Bloodthirsters and Be'lakor, and some cheeky Ogre Thoradins in here. I think these are so undercosted now. They're super good little allies, or coalitions, I guess. Nice. We have Maestro, who's running Bow Snakes, Marathi and the Bow Snakes. I still think it's a pretty good list, but it has some exploitable weaknesses for sure. Obviously, it's quite bad in Seraphon, but can be good anyway. We have Kieran, who's running Skaven. Okay, so I'm interested to see what he's running. So he's doing Bell, 2 Graciers, Priest, Skabic, Furnace, 3 units of 20 Clarion Rats, 2 units of 15 Censer Bearers, and the Hell Pit. I just think running 3 Bells is better, but I get the fact that he wants Acolytes, but I'm sure he will find that probably 1 Bell's not enough, but we'll have to see. Cedric is running Iron Jaws. We have 6 Gorgrunters, 3 Gorgrunters, and we have some Brute Rages, but yeah, I mean, it's normal kind of Bloodtooth list, right? Oh, we do have the new lad in here. Okay, but not any of the other ones. Disappointment, but yeah, I can the hero one's probably the best one now, but okay, so yeah, another Iron Jaws player. Then we have I didn't even know this was here. We have a full Trug list. We got the full Trug send. I think this is is this the first for Release the Beast of the full Trug list? Potentially, right? Alright, so we'll slightly deep dive this one. So we have Trog Boss Trug, 2 units of 3 Fell Waters. We have 2 Dank Holds. Okay, so no Rock Guts, which I think is right, because you get the 5-up ward anyway, right? From Trug. And then the 2 big blocks of 2 Dank Holds. It's still not a lot though, is it? Okay. I remember when I played this as well, there's a debate between taking an artifact and a Nullstone Adornment. I guess probably someone else has Arcane Tome, but I tend to just prefer taking Arcane Tome. It seems there are 2 Trug lists. Okay, well, I look forward to seeing the other one. Okay, we'll move on, but that looks fun. We have Ross, who's running Nurgle with... oh, man, this is cool. Bunch of play drones. Oh, yeah, I'd like playing this. It is a bit weird, like, matchup-wise. Like, it has some, like, horrific matchups. Like, Gargants is obviously terrible, but... because all your plague drones have 1 shot. But, yeah, I mean, against Hordes, it's great. Especially against, like, Soul Blight. You just murder everyone. It's great. Yeah. Could be cool. Alright. Now, this team name... there's no chance for me. I'm gonna say Team Bread. That's what I'm gonna say, because I feel like we can make bread out of these letters, right? In my head. So we're gonna go Team Bread. We have Nurgle with a bunch of Beasts of Nurgle and Glotkin. I ran like this when the book came out. I think this is a good list, and it's all gone down in points as the book came out. So I think strong. We have Sylvaneth with... What have we got here? Okay, so... Alright, this is the one that I like this. This looks super solid to me. Alright, we have Belthanos, Archrev, Warsong Revenant with the Tree Bomb. We have 6 Swords, 6 Seekers, 2 units of Tree Revs, Dryads as a screen in the middle, and... Oh, no. Oh, okay, we don't have the Endless Spell. Alright, well, I would try to figure out some way to get the Endless Spell in, I guess, but maybe Maybe points we're not winning, but looks solid to me. We have Camille, who's running Zinch. Do we have Kronspine? We do. And he's remembered the bonding. Very well done. And we have, I think there's a bit more in this list in the way of bodies. So I probably prefer this one slightly to the other Kronspine list, but looks solid. We have no Tree Bomb. No, it's Warsinger. Oh, sorry. Well spotted. So Warsinger is the extra move one, right? So, okay. That makes me like this slightly less, I would say. I probably would prefer to run the bomb. But maybe I'm just dreaming of a time that's passed in the world of Primal Dice. Yeah, okay. It's, yeah, alright. My bad there, but okay, we have Zinch. And then we have Corn. Is this Spawn Corn? No. It's a mix of... Okay, we have 6-foot heroes. So immediately I'm interested. Okay. I was running for something very similar to this. Like, extremely similar. In Skull Fiends. I found the only issue is battle tactics, but... He has taken some steps to get around that. Yeah, by taking Thedra, right? For the magical dominance turn 1 or in the late game. And to get around having to kill your own wizard, he's gone for the summon grand strat and the command trait to get an extra blood tithe at the start of the game. So, and obviously, massive blood tithe generation here. It's not as much as Spawn Corn, but it's still super solid. So kind of a good like point scoring army here. We have Gitz, of course, with Boingrots and Squigherd. I think we all know what this does by now. We have KO with, what have we got? 15 Thunderers and Gotrek. Okay, we've seen that somewhere else. We have Slanesh with... Okay, this looks interesting. Holy moly. Alright. I'm going to have to probably just kind of do some punctuation stuff here. But we have... what are we, Invaders? No, we're Godseekers. With 2 Shard Speakers, Keeper, Sigvold, Mask Lord of Pain, Archers, 2 5s of Twin Souls, and Gargants and Blizzbarb Seekers. So only 10 Blizzbarbs. I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll have to see how that one goes, I think. There's not 55 Blizzbarbs. I'm immediately nervous. We have, I'm assuming more Bulgors. Oh no, we don't have any. Okay, so that's another kind of mixed list. With Be'lakor. Yeah, this one I'd have to deep dive in, but... yep. Another kind of mixed list, I guess. Then we have, Polished. So we have straight away, we have the Giga Chad who's running Nighthaunt with Quicksilver Dead and a bunch of Paradins. So... Obviously, in theory, good against Nurgle. I'm actually not sure if it is, but in theory it is. Because it turns off the wards, right? But against other armies, there's heaps of armies that have wards now. So it will be interesting to see how it does. We have Camille, who's running... We have Sylvaneth with, okay, is this the one that's going to finally do it? We have, okay, so we have the Branch Width with Warsinger, so less of a commitment in that department, but we still have Spellcasting Savant. We have 4 Greatsword Kurnoths, and the Revenant Seekers, and the Tree Lord, and Spiteswarm Hive. I do like that one. That looks interesting. We have Sons of Behemoth with, okay, so this is not the Grand, so this is the Rabble Rouser, sorry, the Braggart's Bottle Snatchers. So the Gitz Regiment of Renown that lets you do battle tactics really well, but I do always worry about the durability of this army. But it's a good little battle tactic farmer. We have, oh my gosh, we have Feck. How did I miss that? We have 2 Feck players. Holy moly! It's the first of 2. Is it a bunch of horrors? Yes, it is. That's correct. Now I run more horrors than this, but he has a Terrorgeist. I think when I was running this, I had 2 units of 9, and then I think it was like 7 units of 3 was what I was doing, because it's like the best war scroll now for sure. But yeah, looks good. We have cities with a few less fusiliers, but otherwise pretty similar. We have Seraphon with Ionis, so yeah, it's funny, but the 400 point theory is definitely there. Yep. And then we have what have we got? Where are we? Lost my point. Then we got Nurgle with a bunch of Plague Bearers. What I said about the previous list of players, I don't know if it can score the whole game, but we'll see. We have Tomas, who's running Khorne, and we have Spawn Khorne. Okay, again with Skull Reapers and Karanak. I love it. I think, yeah, super solid. I think. I'm not like 100% sure if it's worth 140 points, but against certain armies, this guy can just win you the match by summoning, like against particularly Slanesh, right? Summon 5 Flesh Hounds into combat before you charge the Bliss Barbs, and good things will happen to you. Alright, then we have team we like to pile in with Nurgle. We have Befouling Host with the list. We have Skaven with the list. Okay, so this one has this is the bridge version, this is the Atlanta version, so 3 bells, the 3 priests, 40 clan routes, 30 censer bearers, and the bridge, the list. We have Big War. Is this Orcman's list? Oh no, it's got Gordrak. It's definitely not. Whoa. Gordrak and Gobsprak. So the superhero, the super friends, 10 brutes, 2 3s of brute rages. Alright, I'm not even going to pretend to know what's going on here, but it looks interesting. We have Roll, who's running Gits with 30 Boingrots. I believe this is Mathmallow's list, who's kind of setting up the team. We have Nick, who's running OBR with a bunch of Archive. We've kind of seen this before, right? We have Olaf, who's running King Broad Stomp. Nice. And we have Hugo, who's running Reapers of Vengeance. With Scarbrand, Unfettered Fury, and Bellicor. And we have Mathmallow, who's running Cities with the usual stuff. I really wish people would say how many's in every unit, but yeah, I'm not going to win that battle. Okay, so we just have a few teams left, but that team looks like one of the strongest ones I've seen so far. Maybe the strongest. The Big Wasp, maybe the one that I'm a little bit question mark on, but the rest just looks super solid to me. I mean, maybe this OBR list could be something different, but it looks still good to me, and I love having this Broad Stomp here, and the Khorne list looks nice, and yeah, it just all looks well put together. I'll look forward to see how they're gonna do. He's cheesing the Smashbat build with Feck. Cheesy since it's obvious the rule won't work that way soon. Okay. Feck, huh? Wait, I gotta check that again. Hold on, let me have a look. Where's the Feck list? I think it's this guy, right? Yeah, I mean, I played this before, right? I used to play this when it was Lorchon and when it was Lauchon and you could run Flaming Weapon. This thing was so much fun when you could do that, actually, and you could just go in, and I remember I killed I think I killed 12 Varangard with it once in one hit. It was so insane back then, but it's a little bit worse now, but still solid. Oh yeah, Hugo. Yeah, thanks for guys for playing the first time. Yeah, it looks super solid. I'm interested to see how you guys go, and yeah, welcome to Release the Beast. Then we have the TTS Olympics. We have Spawn Khorne again. This one with the Bloodthirsters looks good. Curious to see how the Spawn Khorne list will play. Yes, so it's got lots of different ways of playing, because we've seen we've seen different versions of this list, like in this tournament, right? We've seen the Super MSU version with Skull Reapers, like 10 Skull Reapers, and then otherwise MSU. That's like kind of a more defensive score points list. But this sort of list is more just a way of getting, because it gets you magical dominance automatic turn 1, and gets you that automatic turn 1, and what else it does is kind of like smooths out your early game, because if your opponent comes towards you, you can drop that sigil and kind of deny them from getting in. So it can kind of make it more difficult for your opponent to lock you in turn 1, which is kind of be a weakness of Khorne, because, you know, if you're playing Scarbrand especially, right? He sucks turn 1, so you want some kind of defense against that, so he can be good. But yeah, Spawn Khorne, we have KO with Sky Wardens and Gotrek, and I think it's just one frigate, this one. Yep. And then we have another legend playing the Trogs. This person's gone more for the Rock Guard approach than the, what are they called? Dankhold Trogos approach. I guess is slightly more offensive maybe, or I guess maybe it's better turn 1 before you get the effect off, right? So if you're going second, it can be better, yeah. We have Azaziel, who's running Sylvaneth. Alright, is this the one? We have the Spellsinger. We have Arch Revenant Belthanos. We have 2 3s of Seekers and 2 6s of Spite Rider Lancers. I like it. I do like it. Now, would I prefer if it wasn't all bugs? Maybe. But that's up there with my favorite one so far. But looks solid. We have Spirit Raven, who's running Cities of Sigmar with the block of Blackguard, and I think that's only 20 Fusiliers, and Drakespawn Knights. I have no idea what they do now, but they used to be tanky before. They're probably quite similar. And Ionis. Okay. And this is the prayer one, right? Yeah, Lethus. Okay, so this person's actually running Lethisian Defenders. Who had 1890 points? Wait. Oh my gosh. That's mad. that is a Giga Chad triumph bid right there. That's amazing. All right, then we have cities, yep, and then we have Seraphon. Okay, get out your bingo pads. What is it this time? It is an Arcus Sotak Basti and some Saurus Warriors. Okay, then we have Ashimarko, who's running King Broad Stomp. I love it, good army. And then we have Boggy, who is running Soulblight with a bunch of dogs and Graveguard. So no skeletons. He has ended the trend, but looks solid. Okay, so and then we have Team Dive Bar. Madigan is playing OBR with okay, so this is slightly like Christoph's list from Binformers, so kind of pretty hero heavy, with just tuners to 3 Immortus for hero protection, but otherwise kind of it's like quite similar to the Nurgle list, right? The 4 monsters plus like Plague Bearers list. It looks similar to me on that. So I think quite good at these like Geomantic Pulse kind of close missions. We have Basil, who's running Seraphon. What is the choice this time? We have the Oxalotls back, the Raptidon Chargers, as well as 6 Rippers. We have Mackenzie, who's running Sylvaneth with Spellsinger Warnoth, Warsong, Belthanos. Alright, it's just the one. And then I'm assuming we're the bug one, right? Harvest Boon, yep. 6 Lancers, 3 Seekers, 6 Lancers, 3 Seekers, and Wild Hunt. Yeah, looks good to me. Interesting. We have Joshua Bennett with Hedonites, who's got 66 Bliss Barbs, 3 Heroes, and 2 5s of Bliss Barb Seekers. Yeah, I mean, we know that's good, but one can only wish that one day we will get another War Scroll. It's like the Pinocchio book, isn't it? We just want it to be a real battle tome. We have Fabian with Khorne, who's running Unfettered Fury, Scarbrand, Thedra, and Bloodletters. I think I've played Fabian with quite a similar list to this. I guess at this point, as I was saying, this is like slightly old in the Khorne development cycle, but that's only been like 3 months, so it's still good. It's just we have played like 150 zillion Khorne lists at this point. We have Mike, who's running Beast of Chaos with Boogaloo. Okay, it's in line. So similar to that, there was another one that had like kind of this mix of stuff before. I think Owen Jackson is in the UK, who's is playing kind of a similar sort of mix of stuff in Beasts of Chaos, but a very high skill cap army for sure. We have Fred, who's running KO with 15 Thunderers and an Ironclad, and then a frigate, and yep, 2 units of 3 engine riggers. And then we have Puro, who's running all the Sharks. Yep. Everything I said about Sharks from before applies. Looks solid. And then we're on to the last team. So we have... It's maybe one of the best names in my opinion. We have Go Nuts November, as opposed to No Nut November, of course. We have Miguel, who's running Slanesh with Bliss Barbs. we have Abraham, who's running Fire Slayers. Vostarg with a bunch of MSU Volkite Berserkers. Looks cool. I haven't seen someone try to run a non. I'm assuming, Brady, that it was you that came up with this name. Go Nuts November. In many ways, it's a good mantra for life. Of course, make sure to get your daily serving of almonds. Very helpful. Don't eat too much because they have a lot of what is it? Is it selenium, or is that, which is the one that's bad? I don't know. There's a chemical that's not so good, but I remember I was told that I shouldn't eat so much tuna and almonds by somebody. Or no, was it Brazil nuts they told me? Anyway, I don't know. We have Fire Slayers, and then Vradi is running corn. We've had a change of armies. What do we have now? So we have Boom Thirster, Unfettered Fury, and 4 Priests, and we have 2 Skull Cannons and a bunch of stuff, and 2 Invocations. Okay. What can I say about this list? It's more honest than Spawn Corn. So the only thing I found with the Boom Thirster is if I have 1, he never gets a boom. If I have 3, I get 1 boom. So maybe you will find okay, someone said cyanide or mercurium. Yeah, tuna is mercury. That's right. I know tuna's mercury because it's the fish that eat other fish, right? Because the mercury accumulates in all the small fish, so the further you go up the food chain, the more mercury you end up eating, right? I believe that's mercury. Possibly it's cyanide. I know there's another chemical though that's also in the leaves of nightshade plants, which I've been told to avoid. So that's another one. Okay, but we have this one here. Oh yeah, the only thing I was going to say about these sorts of lists is the Grand Strat is a bit of an issue, but Grand Strat, and I worry if you're going to get the boom. If you do get the boom, then congratulations. That's more than I've achieved, but I've just found that you need more than one big lad to guarantee it. But yeah, of course, not everyone wants to fully embrace the dice rolling like that. Yoto, who I believe we were communicating a lot about Flesh Eater Courts over the years, or over the past few months. So where's he got to with it? Because I stopped playing it. Okay, so yeah, 2 Nines of Horrors, that makes sense to me. And we put back in the Terrorgeist. I don't know, I feel like maybe we could try... Maybe it's worth trying 2 Nines of Horrors and then just a million 3s of Horrors. We'll have to see. But looks solid. We have Lewis, who's running Gits. We have 1 unit of Boingrots and 1 unit of Squigs. Do we have Gobblepalooza? Yep, and we don't have Green Crack. That makes sense to me if you're only running the 136 of Squig Herd. We have Rahul, who's running King Broad Stomp, I'm assuming. Yep, looks solid. And we have Rudy, who's running... Oh, he's back on Zinch, nice, after his little KO expedition. And we have Kronspine, and has he remembered the bonding? Yes, excellent, to the Magister. And we have Yoshimoto, who's got Nurgle with... Is it the list? It is the list. Yes, it's the list. Okay. So we are at the end now. What are my thoughts after reading what is 144 lists? Well, I think there is quite a lot of variation in here, but I think the areas we've seen the same list over and over again are kind of these top 4, to be honest. Like the Khorne, Nurgle, Gitz, and Starborn one. Like I know there's a bunch of Khorne. There are some variations in Khorne, and there's like tremendous variation in what you can take, but I just find the army plays pretty similar. And then Nurgle, like a lot of the lists were literally the same. Gits, a lot of them were literally the same, and Starborn, there was all just like, what choice of sprinkles do you like on your vanilla ice cream. So other than that, all this stuff that's down here, there's heaps of like creative stuff going on, but definitely we can see the meta towards the top really manifesting. So I will at this point probably end the stream, lest my neighbors complain, because it is 12 a.m. here. But I hope you all enjoyed it. I had some fun. It is slightly lonely doing this on my own, so I appreciate everyone who came in and said something in the chat, and I look forward to a fun tournament.